welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Adam, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
Morning.
Me, I'm overworked, underpaid, tired, and we're at the end of the week. So it's good in a way. So as much as I love sitting here doing the YouTube bit, that's my favourite by a considerable margin. I do actually still have loads of other things to do, so I'll spend my entire weekend doing those. Jardo says, I'm here for the karaoke. By karaoke, do you mean my occasional singing into a mic that may be saleable as a Beatles mic or something? Maybe that's what he's referring to. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
D waves and S waves. You give Earth a sonogram like a pregnant woman. You know how sometimes women get those sonograms to see how the baby's doing? That's what they do to Earth.
P waves and S waves are with respect to a horizontal plane of reference, though, aren't they, Neil?
Oh dear, flat Earth proof again.
Yeah, we've just been doing this chapter. I say doing it, going over it and dotting the I's, crossing the T's, making sure everything's phrased nicely. Huge chunks aren't really getting removed, but there are some fairly sizable chunks that we are dispensing with because of their redundancy. You don't notice when you're writing a book that sometimes you've said the same thing twice or three times sometimes. So sometimes when you say the same thing 2 or 3 times, sometimes you have to remove it because you've said the same thing 3 or 4 times, sometimes the same. And then you might want to remove one of those things, you know, where you say the same thing.
That is funny, though, because they're talking about, we're saying Earth too many times here. There's about a half an hour. Well, you got Earth being said 4 times here. Let's change it around. But listen, this is the type of intense environment. We want this book to be great. Your name is going to be on it. So you got Huey, Adam, Brian, John, everybody there with their eyes on it. And it's going to be a great book, people. And get ready to buy and buy it for a friend.
I'm truly privileged to have the people around me that I've got right. And I'm just going to flip what Brian does typically, which is like everyone else is writing your book for you. It's not even your book anymore. Right, that's nonsense, but Brian's doing it to touch a nerve, and he does occasionally do so. But if I actually lean into that and go, well, if I look at it in the way that Brian's having a jab with, well, no, there are lots of people writing, editing, and rewriting huge sections of my book for me so that it sounds better. And to the point where when something has been rewritten or written originally and then adapted from things like QE's website, which there's huge chunks of stuff that's come from top-end sources, why wouldn't you use them? Like QE's website. But when you're going back through the book, you'll listen to certain things in it and go, well, that sounds a bit like QE. Now, when it's phrased in a certain way, as opposed to just written down on the book in a certain way, you want to hear me rather than hear QE resonate through those pages, right? Because as Neil's just said, it's my book. So I'm so privileged to have people who are so humble. This is, people don't think this is QE, it's absolutely the case. So humble as to say, this sounds a bit too much like me. How can we make it sound a bit more like you? What would you say? I mean, admittedly, it's with a lot of swearing and indignance and being told to shut up occasionally. But, you know, the point being that everyone around me wants this to be my book. Maybe not Brian. He does too, I'm sure. But you know what I'm getting at, right? They want it to sound a certain way. So if there's a certain Americanism that's snuck in through my referencing QE's website in a certain place, that is altered by QE or Adam, and we discuss how it should be phrased so it sounds more like me. And, you know, I'm just so privileged. I'm so lucky to have the people around me that I have got around me who couldn't have more my best interests at heart. You know what I mean? I am so lucky.
Absolutely.
Other than Brian. Brian would happily
Brian
see
likes
me
to take a
burn.
piss out of you because you take a piss out of him constantly.
It's not fair. I should start playing victim. But anyway. Right, let's do a bit more housekeeping. You have to lean into this, Adam. You there? Because there's no Neil. And the rest of the Discord server, who I haven't had a peep out of. Any evidence you can have gas pressure? Good. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Gas fills space.
Yeah.
Unless it's contained.
The whole Katy Perry thing over the last couple of weeks is don't look at the right hand pointing up to the sky vacuum that definitely isn't real. Look down here at the left hand because it's opening a door or kissing the ground or dealing with a wilting flower. You know what I mean? Let's look over here. It's so pathetic. But yeah, in reality, we just haven't got a sky vacuum. Right, Adam? Gas fills space.
They put a movie out just a couple days ago on the Roku, so it's free, called Kiss the Ground. It's not about space. It's about, I think, like environmental issues. But I don't like coincidences, and I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I used to do that when I was a bit younger. I kissed the ground, and it liked it. Any evidence, scientific evidence, I should say, for gravity?
Well, you need to start with an observation, and their observation that they think they have can be opposite date with a balloon. So no.
Did anybody actually supply us with a video to cover today? I did reach out to people on the panel and say, let's have a video prepped to cover. Did anybody actually do that? Has anybody been keeping an eye on Master B to see if there's something specific? Don't worry if not.
Honestly, no, I haven't.
Well, okay, fair enough. Well, it might be a short show.
How far to get into housekeeping?
Oh, a couple of questions. Why do you want to do the full gamut?
I think we should. This is
okay.
flat earth debate.
I don't mind doing the full rundown of housekeeping. What have we had so far? Gas pressure without a container. Any evidence thereof? Have we already done that? Yeah, we have space. Yeah, Katy Perry we just mentioned. Any evidence of the R value? That's Earth radius.
The horizon is going to have to be Earth curve for that, and the horizon is not Earth curve, so there's no R.
Yeah, the derivation of R requires a flat surface be measured. So it's a contradictory assertion that you can acquire a measurement of a radial value by deriving surface level and parallel eye level. That would require Earth be flat and your eye level remain parallel with that flat surface level. Axiomatically true in all instances when referencing Earth. Unless you're suggesting that you can violate that base measurement to derive R values from it. So yeah, there is no R value, only measurements of a flat plane we dwell atop.
Upon.
Atop. It's from the book, yeah. So yes, that's a brilliant point, case in point. So Neil's pointing out an example where QE would say we dwell upon a flat plane. I would say we dwell atop. Now, I say dwell atop, so it is going to be dwell atop in the book, because that's what I say. So it doesn't matter what QE says. It's like, yeah, but it's dwell upon. It's like, no, you can dwell upon whatever the bloody hell you like. Me, I dwell atop a flat plane. It's because I
That's
make it
weird
we.
because I say that too.
Well, it's because I make it a we. I very rarely say I dwell atop, because that almost sounds incorrect to me. Not quite, but we dwell atop a flat plane sounds absolutely correct to me. And that's how I say it, and will continue to do so. But there's going to be stuff that sneaks in, right, that it doesn't matter if there's occasional Americanisms in there, because I do occasionally use Americanisms. Not very often, but it doesn't matter. Does it?
No, what matters is the context of the book.
What matters is we get it done before I run out of microphones, because I don't want to buy any more. I just want the 40 or 45 that I've got to now sell slowly.
That's funny.
I just don't want to buy any more. I think that last wit, you know, it's like gambling. Every time I buy one, it is a bit like gambling, right? 50-50 chance it's going to be broken. Right, that's the bottom line. So it's gambling, isn't it? Well, occasionally the ones that do work offset the ones that don't. That's the idea, and still make a small profit, making it okay to chuck a few of them away. And sometimes they massively exceed their expectations and are much nicer than I thought, which I was explaining in the pre-show. I won't go in mic mode, I promise. But, you know, expectations, how can I link this back to Flat Earth quickly? Let's just carry on with housekeeping, shall we? Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
We're going to need an independent variable for that, Nathan.
Yeah, step 1, observe natural phenomena. We discussed it earlier, or Adam brought it up earlier.
What's an independent variable? Does that mean 1, or can I have maybe 4?
A bit like Lone Ranger, like asking if you can have more than one Lone Ranger. Independent, on its own, alone, singular. 1. Independent variable. That is the presumed, yet to be validated, suppositional cause of an effect you've observed in nature. It is that which you formulate into a hypothesis, that's a scientific prediction, as your presumed cause of the effect. It's what you think will cause the effect you observed at step 1 of the scientific method. Step 1, observe something occurring in nature, otherwise known as a naturally occurring phenomena. Upon observation of said phenomena, you can then formulate a hypothesis with an, as Neil is asking, independent variable. That is the single variable presumed cause of the effect. It must be real. It must be the independent variable in your scientific prediction. So therefore, it's your A statement in if A, then B, aka scientific prediction, otherwise known as hypothesis. So your statement, if A, must be real and capable of variation and manipulation by you, the researcher. That is to say, it must be something that you can physically vary yourself to, hopefully, induce the effect that you observed at step 1. That is to say, you vary this presumed cause, and as a result of your varying that presumed cause, singular, the phenomena occurs. Now, if that is the case, you vary your presumed cause in your hypothesis that is real and capable of being varied, and it does indeed induce the effect you observed in nature, then that is a validated hypothesis, at which point you would rule out the ancillary, now disproven, null hypothesis or zero difference result that sits alongside your scientific prediction. That is to say, if A, that's to say, if you vary your presumed cause, not B, B will not happen. Well, obviously, if you varied it and it did happen, you can rule that out. You put a line through the null. You then have a proven scientific prediction. That's to say, your experiment, that's what varying a presumed cause to see if it causes an effect is. That's an experiment. But at that point, you've got empirical evidence. Lest you violate the law of non-contradiction, A can only cause B It cannot both cause and not cause be simultaneously. Violation of the law of non-contradiction. Ergo, upon variation and manipulation of a presumed cause to the point of validating it as the cause of an effect observed in nature, you have empirical evidence and can form a theory based on the outcome of an experiment. Proven scientifically. That's what science is. This is natural science. Cause and effect reasoning based on natural phenomena, established through scientific prediction. That's variation and manipulation of a presumed cause of an effect, to the point of validation. That is an outstanding summary of the scientific method. My name is Nathan Oakley. My hourly rate is now.
And you will find that in the book. So let me ask you a question. So that would rule out the stars as being an independent variable. But some may say that you can vary them with time, because you observe it at a certain time here, and then you observe it later, doing something different. But that don't count because they're not manipulating it physically, correct?
Yeah, to be an independent variable, first of all, you must be the presumed cause of the effect in your hypothesis. That is to say, it's what you've written down as if A. It must be also something that you can physically vary. That is to say, it must also be, part 3, real. So no variation and manipulation of concepts like time. They're not real. You can't vary physically a concept. That's ludicrous. Now, when people start asserting it, it does make me chuckle. And they can believe that they can vary and manipulate physically time. Obviously, DeLoreans are available to everybody now. But in the meantime, for us in non-La La Land, a real independent variable must be capable of variation and manipulation by you, the researcher. That is to say, it is real, you must be able to vary it, and it must be the presumed cause in your prediction. That's to say, it's the A statement in your hypothesis. That's it. That's what a independent variable must have to be called an independent variable in a scientific prediction, otherwise known as hypothesis, Neil.
They also used to say that traveling would be the independent variable for the stars moving.
Are you a travelling star?
I am
Be
not,
careful how you
sir.
answer that.
So if travelling, then star movement. That's ludicrous. Okay, I just moved. There's no stars. Nothing's happened.
So when a certain traveling man says the globe predicts something, is he inferring that it's a scientific prediction or what?
Well, let's run it through. Is the globe physical?
Is the globe physical?
Yes. To be an independent variable, you've got to be physical and real.
No, you're begging the question. You're asking, is the ground we're on spherical?
No, I'm asking.
That's not what he said.
No, you said the globe is an independent variable, so I asked if the globe was real and physical. It is not. It's mathematical and conceptual and derived from flat Earth measurements, so the answer is no. So step 1, is this an independent variable, something that we haven't even got to? Can I vary and manipulate the globe? The globe that what is a concept derived from flat Earth measurements mathematically? No, it's not real. So no, it's not an independent variable. So when Duffy, the Freemason travelling man, says the globe model predicts, no, it's absolutely not science, he's a fraud.
That seems to be about all he says.
Yeah, that's what frauds do. They fraud people into belief that they've got science when they're asserting that a conceptual mathematical derivation of a flat Earth measurement can cause things. No, it's not going to be the cause in a hypothesis. It's not capable of varying and manipulating by you as a researcher, and it's not physical. It's conceptual. It fails on every front, basically.
So that's
What about
why
gravity? Have you done gravity yet?
Neil, can you hear that guy talking?
I did. I started. I was talking too. So excuse me. Go ahead.
Forgiven.
Go
No,
ahead,
I was just
Surf
saying that's
Doddy.
why when Duffy and the alleged pilot were demonstrating how planes fly over an airplane, they had to use an actual toy globe and a toy plane.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
we use pitch data. We don't use toy globes and toy planes to demonstrate what the black box data, life and death information that comes from these aeroplanes and their flights that Wolfie's been on and had to be lying about for the last 8 years. Yeah, he's been exposed.
Pitch data from real planes.
Yes, NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board. About as high level in terms of authoritarian data that you could acquire. It is the highest of standard. Earth is flat in their data. Just to make absolutely clear that anybody who's listening to this realises that tosspots and liars and frauds holding up toy globes and toy planes do not in any way, shape or form compare to the National Transportation Safety Board's flat Earth measurements that they present when dealing with air crash investigations. Life and death scenarios are dealt with on graphs that show Earth is measured flat in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, we come official. They come with their children's toys.
Yes. Pastor Duffy, the travelling man, has his toy globe. We have pitch data. That Wolfie, the pilot, has been lying about for the last 8 years because it exposes him suggesting that they negotiate a curve when they don't. He's just been lying about it. Yeah? And therefore his projected lies and concerns thereof has led him to assert that we would need 160 grand to get pitch data. No, not Duffy. Wolfie, your lie's not worth 160 grand. It's just your lie, you scumbag, disingenuous man. Wolfie knows Earth's flat. That's why he goes out of his way to cover that which he's concerned about. Yeah, these are these Muppets and their concerns that have been projecting onto us for 10 years. Well, enough. We know you're worried about it, or you wouldn't be lying about it for 10... No, it's not quite 10 for Wolfie. 8 years. Right? You lied 8 years ago. We've exposed you, Wolfie. Your necessity to go around a curve. Yeah, you knew full well that your pitch data you said was 160 grand to acquire would expose your lie. Now, why have you lied? Yeah, because you need to cover it, don't you? Yeah? Well, good for you. Me, I don't care. I'm not lying when I say Earth's measured flat by the NTSB. When I use your own authority, this is Wolfie 6020, the pilot, yeah, I'll use your highest of standards in your realm to prove Earth's measured flat, because it is. Do I need to lie for 8 years and bullshit about how much it would cost to acquire this data that shows Earth's measured flat? No, but if you're lying about the facts shown in these graphs, then you're Wolfie. That's what the reality is. He needs to lie because he knows Earth's flat. The awful truth he's been hiding from everybody. Now me, I don't give a crap anymore. Earth just is flat for every practical application you can ever apply to it. Ed?
Sorry. Yeah, but that's what I was saying this morning to you. We're just surrounded by disingenuous people. I mean, he came right out with that video with Duffy. Why wasn't a video like that made years ago when Brian was inquiring about pitch data? All of a sudden they got scared.
Because he's already lied about
you
it.
Can't have this proof out there.
No, he already has lied about it with his little toy plane. This is Wolfie 6020, 8 years ago, in a clip that we've got that we can play at nausea of him lying about what he knows damn well not to be true. And then he spent a significant period of time trying to cover it up. Now we know it's just not that complicated. Now, for him, it was worth him lying about how much it would cost to acquire this data. What, this data that would absolutely, prove a ball for 160 grand? No, it was just something that would expose Wolfie's lies. And he knew it. He's known it all along. We all know it. We're all the same here. right, Wolfie? You're in the same boat as us. I've been saying it for a fair while now. You're no different to us other than you're a coward and need to project your concerns about the world that you've found out isn't the way you thought it was onto us. You've been doing it for a long time, you bleeding coward. You all do it. Yeah, but reality is you've all fallen down this flat earth hill and now, oh, it's not flat. Look how stupid the people who say it is are. That don't wash anymore. I know it's not giving you any bleeding pain relief, and as we overturn all the earth you've tried to cover up your lies with, all that we're doing is exposing the rotting corpses of you pathetic cowards in your discovery of the same thing we've figured out. Earth's flat. That's how it's measured. You all know it. Been lying to yourselves. It's absolutely pathetic. Meanwhile, admitting to that, having a pair of balls and being able to say, yeah, I understand that the world that I've been lied to about with a religion called heliocentrism isn't the world we measure. Me being able to say that with confidence means I struggle to pay my mortgage and should be tolerated in terms of the abuse I suffer from cowards who need to cope with these facts I can openly admit to. So yeah, you feel free, pour scorn on me all you bleeding like. Doesn't change the reality. You're all cowards. You can't face this awful truth. I can. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm sure in the next 10 years, there'll be plenty of dickheads from the flat earth side talking about Bigfoot or talking about some of the nonsense that you can pick on and make seem stupid so that you don't have to unearth these facts like Wolfie's declarations that violate what the NTSB show with measurements of a flat earth. You can just keep going for that low-hanging fruit over and over again so you don't have to face the awful truth. The corpses in your cupboard you are so terrified of.
Yeah, they're all on the same team. People talking about Bigfoot and claim they're flat earthers. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, flat earth is just earth being measured. That's all it is. You need to make it into some crazy witch-looking woman talking about how Bigfoot's something we need to concern ourselves with because her daughter smelt something in the bleeding air. I spoke to Karen B. Her standard was her daughter smelt something. We're surrounded by shills and idiots, retards spewing garbage waffle, calling themselves flat earthers so we can be that person that Wolfie gets pain relief from by saying, look how stupid flat earthers are, while he knows damn well that the plane's flying over a flat surface, that we measure our height with surface level and document in NTSB pitch data. Earth's measured flat. Now that fact isn't going to change with some crazy witch-looking woman talking about Bigfoot.
Well, hey, Brian. Well, some of your ex-panel members picked up on that and are really laying down the evidence that Bigfoot exists.
What?
Yeah, and this is what's important. Why we never.
There's probably more evidence of that than Earth curve, though.
Probably, but that's why it was so important that we didn't entertain any of that nonsense. We are totally separate from that. But some ex-panel members are jumping on this Bigfoot bandwagon and claiming that they validate it.
Oh, you're not just saying this hypothetically? This is actually
I'm saying
a thing.
it for real.
Oh my God, I'm going to get the lowdown on this. I can't quite believe my freaking ears.
But hang on. Before we go down that road, I must point out something.
About the number
9.
The
ballers do all the time to flat earthers, right? You know what happens. You know the way we point out that some flat earth, we point out that this person's talking rubbish. They might be a flat earther, but we're pointing out they're talking rubbish. They don't like us pointing that out, right? So what happens is they find a friend in the ballers, right, who say, yeah, we don't like all them either. And that's not the way, these conversations should take place. They shouldn't be so cut and dried. And they have no open minds and whatever, all those FED people, blah, blah, blah. So then the baller brings the flat earther onto their channel to talk about something like flight and presents them with a heap of rubbish, right? And the flat earther then starts entertaining the rubbish, right? Because they're supposed to be good to talk to, not like those FED people, right? And they're being made idiots out of. And that's what happens, right? The ballers, they find these flat earthers literally find solace with the ballers, and the ballers find solace with them. But it always works out better for the ballers because the flat earthers who didn't listen to us end up getting their asses handed to them on the ballers' channels when they bring them on their channels. Because that's what they do. They become friends. And then the ballers stick a knife in their back because the ballers don't care. They want every single one of us in a pit and they want to cover it over with soil. And that's it. And anyone who thinks any different is stupid.
Well, I think differently. I agree right up to the point where you said they want to bury the flat earthers in the pit. No, it's the straw man of their recognition of the earth that they're concerned about being something other than what they've been taught. That's a ball. That's what they're really burying. Now, just before you joined, I was making the metaphor that we are unearthing those corpses, metaphorically, of their concerns that have been buried in earth that is metaphorically the souls of the flat earthers they've destroyed for their Bigfoot belief. And in reality, no, what you're really burying is in the case of Wolfie 6020, who was used as an example earlier, lies about how it works with that little toy plane, right, Brian? He's been covering it up for 8 years. That's why the pitch date had cost 160 grand. No, because it just exposes your lie, Wolfie. That's what's being unearthed. They've projected it onto us. That's the metaphorical earth that covers the corpses of their concerns. They're at the bottom of the same hill we are. I've said it all along.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is...
Neil,
Hold on.
Neil.
What I'm saying is...
What Brian was saying? Go ahead, Brian.
I was going before, and I got interrupted. What the hell with it? Go ahead.
Look, Neil, I know, I understand that. Neil is right.
Here we go. Any other day when Neil's interrupting Brian, he'd have got an earful, right? Today, because I've told him off for it, no, suddenly Brian's got to side with Neil today.
No, I did overtake. Neil was saying something, and I stepped in there before
Before you go down that, let me tell you this. I'm waiting to get back in because we're being mocked because the person was a panel member here for years. This is what you get when you're on Nathan Oakley's channel. But find out for yourself.
Get a grip.
Neil, relax. Who are you talking
Neil, go ahead. It doesn't matter what I have to say.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Go ahead, Neil.
Just go ahead.
Oh, he's dropped. I hope he's not annoyed with us. Craig, if you're about later, can you help me find a path to a file for Teams so I can put it into my stupid Stream Deck? Because I'm spending 5 minutes a day trying to get the stupid thing to load. Bloody Teams. Anyway, I'll find out from Craig later. He's probably solved
anybody know who Neil was talking about?
He's going to join in a minute and tell us. I don't know.
I got here late. I don't know. I just got it. Anyway, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Well, I guess I'll interrupt a little bit and second 100% what Brian's saying. Only it's the big picture, I think. I've been seeing it for at least 3 to 4 years, but more intensely in the past 2 years, especially with Duffy's thing, where people like McToon, Craig, and the usual suspects were always trying to get fairly new flat earthers to come on their show and debate and basically become part of the fold. And when Duffy came along, I saw personally how he kind of came on the scene, was influenced by McToon, but wouldn't mention McToon. But everything he talked about, this is like on Facebook forums and stuff like that I have most experience with him on, is that he was basically channeling McToon. About that same time, both Jaron and Whitsitt were on a couple of streams that were supposed to be, just conversations with McToon and stuff like that, just to iron some things out and to kind try to come together and figure this out. So, yeah, you can look back a couple years ago, and every time that the usual suspects have gotten flat earthers and to come on like Modern Day Debate and come on their own shows or do co-shows or whatever, then those eventually became compromised. So, yeah. And, if they had asked for a fee to be on their show, they probably wouldn't have been in this situation, and we wouldn't be having all these shows.
Well,
Brian's 100% correct.
yeah, well, what I would say is I appreciate the support. But what I would say is that the likes of Jaron and Whitsitt, they weren't compromised. That's who they were all along. That's who they are. So the likes of them were not compromised. They're all in on the scam, right? Or the whatever you want to call it, right? The joke. And they were all along. But you have stupid flat earthers like Karen B, who will go against people like Nathan and myself and whatever, and say they're all bad over on FED. And then she'll want to have some stupid conversation with a baller about ether or whatever rubbish they want to go on about, right? And they'll take solace in each other. The baller say, we don't like those FED people. You can't have a conversation with them. And the globe busters will go, yeah, they're really bad, all them. And not just the globe busters, but other flat earthers out there, right? Who are just as stupid, as far as I'm concerned, and just as naive. But the baller is not interested, right? The baller is happy to get some solace in the agreement of these mock flat earthers. But what the baller really wants is to get those flat earthers onto their show and then bamboozle them with bullshit and then reach a point of a vague, ambiguous kind of a draw situation within their conversation that would be half a debate. And that's keeping their ball alive. And it's diminishing the flat earth because the flat earth like has to outright destroy the globe in all situations, whether it be conversation or debate. And especially with evidence, has to outright destroy it. Can't have a draw. They can have a draw, and that's a win for them. We can't have a draw. But all these people keep handing them draws, and they've done it for 10 years. And then they want to keep on being part of this stupid cycle where they keep on being on this big merry-go-round of debating the same ballers, putting money in their pocket, and the flat earthers getting nothing out of it. But we're the bad guys for pointing out all the things they say that are wrong and all the things they do that are wrong. We're the bad guys, and as far as the ballers are concerned, as far as these fake flat earthers are concerned, we're the bad guys. But we're not the bad guys. We're trying to point out where you're all going wrong, and the ones that intentionally do it, the likes of Jaron and them, right? They're as intentional. Then you have the other ones, right, who decide they don't like you because you're pointing out where they're just wrong. They have a pride issue. I know of one. I'm not going to mention who he is. He's very well known, and he stopped having that to do with me because I pointed out where he was wrong, and I did it in a comment for it. And then he wouldn't let it go, him and someone else, and I had to literally make it a thing on a QE Live, make a bigger deal out of it on QE Live back a year or two ago or whatever it was. And now he has nothing to do with me because his pride is right. I don't care about your pride, flat earther. I don't care who you're supposed to be or who you think you are. You're just wrong. Right? I'm not bad because you're wrong. You're just wrong. End of story. And if you want to take solace with ballers, or if you want to talk to other flat earthers who take solace with ballers, and you all have a little circle of giving out about FED, I don't care. Nobody cares. Right? It's about what's right and who's right, and what's wrong and what's right. And these people, the likes of the Karen B's, even though there's times she did things, I would say she did some stuff over the years that was pretty good. She put a bit of effort into it. But on the other side of it, what else has she done? Taken all the wrong sides, done all the wrong things, and listened to no one. What good is she? What help is she giving? What's the point in doing anything good if you're going to equal it with something bad in the future? Not just her, but many others. We'd be better off if most of these people just disappeared and we ended up with a very, very small amount of flat earthers who just knew what they were talking about. And if they didn't know what they were talking about, they didn't open their bloody mouths.
Well, that's what
you're supposed to do. And you admit when you're wrong.
I was about to agree with you till you said the last bit, which was that the rest of them just didn't open their mouths. Well, no, they definitely do. But there is definitely a small group of flat earthers, us, that just you know when people say know them by their fruit. Well, we are in that position where we've been doing the same thing consistently for a long time, right? Now, at the end of that really long game for the sleeper shills that are out there suddenly turning their tails and pretending that they always knew it was a ball or it always seemed like it wasn't quite right and now they've found the path. Well, I don't think there could be anybody unless Mark Sargent's a really deep, sleeper. I don't know, maybe. But other than that, and DeBay. And me. But that's about it, right? Who else is there? Name somebody else. Mark, me, DeBay. Who's left? That could be a sleeper shill. That could turn around in 5 years from now, right? 15 years into the game and say, you know what? I actually just found out that there's... the moon's up for this amount of time and therefore it's a ball. I mean, who'd have thunk it? Or whatever. I think, what could it be? Could they have people that would lie about being a flat earther for 20 years? Could that be the case? 10 years seems like it would be the limit, right? Surely. Although Mark Sargent could come out 5 years from now, would it be a shock? Not at all. If Mark Sargent 5 years from now said, you know what? Actually, we're in a simulated Earth that's a ball.
I think your clue that Mark would be his continued hesitation to use the arguments of, and I'm not even going to say your arguments, because your arguments are simply just stating the matters of fact and what is true. This is how things are measured.
Yeah, that's exactly what
this is how things are measured.
Whenever I've spoken to Mark about anything ever, he's been receptive, courteous, listened to what I've told him, and incorporated it. Now, normally I haven't got time to keep tabs on people like Mark, but people report back. They go, check it out. I heard Mark say X, just like you say it. And then you go and listen and go, yeah, he's just it's because he understood it, because I explained it to him and he understood. And I didn't have to keep browbeating him like with Dave Weiss, right? Trying to talk to Dave Weiss was always a struggle because he just braced against everything. Now, I don't think that makes him a shill necessarily. That's not the standard I'm laying this down for. I'm just saying it was a bit of a battle. The final one being science, where he just completely braced against it. And in my mind, I justified it because his mates, Witsy and people like Jaron, weren't in line with the uses of science in the real terminology and usage. They were barking on about ether and pseudoscience from their own sides. So that wasn't conducive with Dave and his mates, so I thought that's why he braced against it. But it was always a bit like that when I tried to educate Dave on anything. Mark, not like that. You'd listen, and he'd repeat stuff back to you that would let you know that he understood what you were saying, so you could quickly move on. And then once you dispense with the information, I was always happy whenever I've spoken to Mark. This is almost unilaterally true, that he's understood what I've said. And then he's demonstrated it later, that he did understand it, past tense. And can, in the present tense, regurgitate it when useful to him, as opposed to, I'm going to brace against how science works. You're like, why? Oh, right, because your shilly friends who are going to Antarctica need to use the same bullshit that we've been lied to with pseudoscience and ether. Oh, right. Well, there we go. Shows you back the wrong horse, you end up looking like a dotter. Hello, whoever that is, go ahead. I'll just shout at Jardo. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, Jardo. Go ahead, whoever that was.
I was just saying he is also helping on. I believe it was national television with the black man. So I guess props to that.
I didn't make
that
out
was
a
a
word
national
of that.
television show, right? Was it? Am I wrong on that?
I didn't hear you. Say it again.
Was it Mark Sargent, the one that went on national television with the Black Swan? Or was it him?
Yeah. Mark shouted me out.
Was.
He was on British TV. He was in front of Philip Schofield and Fern Cotton. And he was talking about me. People coming up to me, mate up the road. He's like, you were on TV. I'm like, no, I wasn't. He was like, no. There was this guy, Flat Earther, talked about you with Fern and Philip Schofield. I'm like, oh, really? And then I went and looked it up and it was Mark who'd mentioned me on British national TV. Cool, huh?
So Mark's not likely going to be one of the ones that turn because he has.
I'll done 1 second, Surf Daddy. Go ahead, Chocolate.
No, not just mentioned you. From what I remember, you went on and spoke about the Black Swan. Really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm just trying to refresh my memory, but I do remember it was Mark Sargent that did that. That was cool.
The problem with Mark is he's a bigger whore than I am, so he'll do things that people will disagree with. So he did things like the Betfred, I think it was Betfred, and he's there stabbing a ball because they've asked him to do it. He's like, you can be the flat earther and you can talk about, oh, Earth's not a ball, and then stab and deflate this giant blow-up ball. And Mark's gone, yep, if that's what you want, and he's done it. And people have got on his case, and he's like, I just don't turn anybody down when they ask me to do this stuff, unless I can't physically do it. This is Mark. I'm speaking on his behalf from what he's told me. It's like, no, if you're gonna commit to the gig, you just got to do everything. If that's Mark's attitude, you go, fine. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't think it looks great. That's why I use that example. I don't think Mark came off looking great in that. But you do what you do, right? And I'm not going to criticise Mark for it. I don't think I have even mentioned it up until now. Do we all know what I'm talking about when I talk about the Betfred stabbing the ball thing?
The Australian advertisement.
Yes. I didn't know it was Australian, but now I do know you've said it. Yes, Australian national TV. And that for their Betfred.
Yeah, but people have stated that made us look stupid. That's not what makes us look stupid. People already think that we're like that. Marcus just capitalising on that. That's how I saw it. That meant nothing to me. That didn't even remotely anger me in any way. What makes us look stupid is idiots out there pointing things like ether. Right? What makes us look stupid is flat earthers saying the horizon always rises to eye level, instead of using the word, saying the correct term, which is the original term, or the original statement, the horizon always appears to rise to eye level. It's little things like that, right? And the idiocy of flat earthers just hand waving away things, right, which like that are stupid, like gravity. Fair enough, hand wave it away, but at least produce something that shows you understand what you're hand waving away and why you can hand wave it away. Don't just hand wave it away, because in the eyes of the public, that makes us look stupid. And focusing on other things that don't bloody matter, like COVID, for instance. How many flat earthers lost? And it's
Bigfoot.
There's been some good flat earthers. What's his name? Red Pill Philosophy. He's a brilliant flat earther. He was killing it on YouTube, and he went and focused on COVID. And he shouldn't have, even though his COVID videos were the best, right? It doesn't matter. The point is he should have stayed focused on flat earth, because when he went and did that, YouTube got rid of him. You know, things like that. It's just like flat earthers need to make better decisions. That's what needs to happen. You know, don't worry about Mark Sargent. The whole world thinks we like that anyway. Mark Sargent is, well, like, he technically has become more popular because of that. More people know of him because of that. Do you know what I mean? So they know of Mark Sargent. So if they go to Mark Sargent is likely to send someone towards us. Maybe he'll send them to the Globebusters too. I don't know. But there is a chance he'll send them to us. Depends on who he's dealing with.
Well, no, he does. I've said that. I've brought that up earlier. The people I've managed to turn down, in the pre-show I was talking about, you know, me explaining there's a lack of time. Therefore, more than ever, I feel justified in just saying, no, when I've done that sort of gig, go on other people's show where they can potentially mute me. I've been paid to do it, and if you want me, you can pay me to do it. Now, people have got back in touch and gone, oh, well, you're only worth X amount. I know you've left comments under this video. I'm just filling the audience in, basically, Brian. But when it comes to the gig, if you're going to commit to the gig, like Mark has, you want to kind of appease anybody that's offering you stuff that you can't do personally. Hence, he was sending stuff out to me for the longest time. But what would happen is I'd turn it all down, because I'd try and engage with them and build a bit of rapport with them. Now, normally that's where it would fail, right? That was the first acid test. Yeah? You dip your little bit of litmus in by going, oh, right, how are you interested in this subject then? In other words, you're just trying to build rapport. Now, if they immediately distance themselves from you, then you know they're a wanker. You know what their game is. Almost immediately. You can tell the cut of their jib just by trying to engage with them. Now, they know, cognitively, they've accepted they're going to be chastising and ridiculing you. So they don't want to mentally be your friend. Yeah, and it shows. So you're like, why would I want to engage with you? You obviously don't want to engage with me. Yeah? I'm just asking a few innocent questions of you. Daily Mail, for example, someone who Mark passed over. Right? Now, back in the day, we had an equivalent of Karen B from the Sun, Moon and Zodiac group who did do that Daily Mail bit because I turned it down after they wouldn't build any rapport with me. What did they do? Chastise and ridicule her. And I remember her bleating to me after the fact, oh no, they made me seem really stupid. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah, well, they took all the crazy things you said.
It wasn't a hard task.
Yeah, I gave them a hard pass because they wouldn't build. It's not that I gave them a hard pass either. It's just you try and engage with them and they don't engage back. Right? That's it. That's the acid test.
Task.
So, like Ranty, I said in the pre-show, right? He's got no PR clue. Yeah? He's reached out by a video. Oh, right. That's not normally how people communicate, dum-dum. But I'll respond by video. Yeah? He's not getting the message, though, is he? Yeah? That's my equivalent of building rapport. It's like, no. So, next step is to actually communicate with me. Yeah? Because you're asking for mate traits. That's what you're doing, isn't it, dickhead? You're not a mate, idiot. Do you not get it? This is obviously complicated stuff for someone like Ranty.
Ranty reached out to you via video?
Ranty? And she's his friend. He could get Nathan to do whatever he wants. Nathan's his puppet.
Delusional.
Okay. That's weird.
Not weird, idiotic.
Well, did he reach out for a reason, or?
Well,
just
by reach out, you mean
or...
reach out in the same sort of standard that Duffy reaches out. Make a video saying you've invited someone to do something. Yeah, that's Duffy's standards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Ranty doesn't seem to get that. No, I've called out Duffy for the same shitty standards that now Ranty thinks he can apply because he used to hang around with me once. Yeah, well, I was talking about your stupid Ken Burns and how idiotic you were with your conspiratard nonsense that you waffled all day long. You did do some useful things that I'll acknowledge, Ranty, like get side onto a few wind turbines. Nevertheless, Ranty thinks he can get me for mates rates. You dumbass. No, stick to the idiot delusions of the rest of the people around you who say it's because I got a mute button, or whatever shit excuse you want to conjure. Meanwhile, you want me, yeah, just pay me. Oh, you don't want to pay me. You don't even want to communicate with me. You can't even send me an email. Yeah, you like the Daily Mail, dickhead. It's just you've got a lot less clout. I told them to fuck off. What do you think I'm going to tell you, Ranty? Idiot. Yeah, these dickheads think they're Vice, don't they?
That's just funny. This is...
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's... I mean... why that name all of a sudden he shows up again? Like, what? Yeah. What the hell is going on?
Funny, isn't it?
That's so funny.
I don't swing in that direction. No, thank you, sir. I don't have mates like that. You know what I mean? So those sorts of people, they can pay me. You don't want to pay me? No worries. I'm not approaching you, am I? Am I sticking my hand out going, can I come on your show and you can give me money to do it? That's not what's happening.
Yeah, but he's holding on to that time when he used to be on the show. So he thinks that you're still mates and he could just say, I'll get Nathan for you. No problem.
It might have been, that could have been the case. People who are mates stay in touch, right? Even when they're busy. So occasionally you get people who, are in and out of touch because they've got stuff on. So it's like at any point, Anthony Riley's, he just doesn't come on the show. He's got other stuff going on. But at any given time, I can tell you something about Anthony Riley because I'm privy to it. So in a recent video, trying to make that point, I just mentioned something subtle, a little private piece of information I've got about Anthony Riley. That if you're an audience member, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about with that person in mind when you reference that. You're like, no, that's the intention. It's making the point that outside of what's broadcast, you keep relationships with your mates. Yeah? And then you can reference back to them. And then if somebody like Anthony Riley, as an example, because he's, in a way, in Ranty's mind, equivalent to Ranty. He thinks that, at least. That's what Ranty thinks. No. I know what Anthony's up to. He knows what I'm up to. Now, it might not be the case that we're hanging around day in, day out on the show, like when he was on the show and you were, but we've kept in touch and fallen out while keeping in touch, because that's what mates do. Yeah? But I haven't had that relationship with Ranty. I never did. So to suggest, all right, I can just get in touch. I can get Nathan. Can you? Whatever gave you that idea? Like I say, then you get compared to people like the Daily Mail. You get told to sling the rook because they haven't built any rapport with me. It's like, is Ranty building rapport? Did he send me that email? Yeah, same email I got off Will Duffy. You know what I mean? That response that he had from me saying, no, I'm not coming. Did that ever come? Did anybody get that? It doesn't exist. Yeah, there was no rapport building. There was no email exchange. Duffy's just a liar. Right? Same as Ranty. He's not PR trained. He's a painter and decorator. He doesn't know how to build a rapport with someone and get him to do something. He doesn't have to do those things. He doesn't have those skills. I mean, I can apply those skills to buying a microphone for 1/10 its value, so that if it fails, I can chuck it in the bin, and if it doesn't fail, I can potentially sell it for a decent margin and keep my mortgage paid.
Go on top of the
Skills that Ranty doesn't have.
You want to help me out real quick?
Mute there.
Oh yeah, it's already 10.
So yeah, those are.
Okay, get on mute.
Why isn't it allowing me to mute all? Oh, it did. Seems like it worked. Anyway, you're muted in G+. If you did want to chat, you can now go and mute yourself because Chocolate was off mute. Anyway, the point is that being able to have that interaction with someone and convince them that they need to do something for you, for your and perceived by them, their benefit, that's gab. Like sales patter, gift of the gab, being able to negotiate. Those are skills that you don't just acquire or get trained in. You either got them or you haven't. Me, I know I've got those skills and can put them into practical use. I can build rapport with people. Yeah? If I choose to. I haven't just made an advert, right? This is the equivalent. I keep using this example. I'll just make a video tomorrow saying, I suggest that Ranty, I can get him to paint my house, you know. Now, I'm not going to communicate with him. I'm not going to send him an email. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to go negotiate any rates with him. I'm just going to put out a video that suggests I can get Ranty to replaster my house. Not going to even suggest there'd be any payment involved. I reckon I can get Ranty to do that. Right, well, because, you know, he's a cuck. And if I tell him to do something, he'll do it. Stand there and watch while I shag your woman. Do it, Ranty. Stand in that corner, you pathetic cuck. And he'll do it. I suggest that on a video. I'll publish it. Let's see if it just becomes a reality. You know what I mean? We'll see if that happens. We could do that, right? That's the metaphorical equivalent. Now, some might see aspects of that as very real. Some might see it as absolutely absurd. It doesn't matter. I'm not making adverts suggesting I can get Ranty. I find him intensely boring. I'd have a higher rate for you, Ranty, because I'd have to put up with your monotone, boring voice. Yeah? I'd charge you more for that, you boring cuck.
That's basically what he did.
Meanwhile, Anthony Riley gets in touch. Oh, can you be on my show? I'm going to run a show. I need to talk about this on it with you. Can you be there to riff with me? Absolutely, Anthony. Keep calling him Rantony. Absolutely, Anthony. Yes, I would do it in a heartbeat. In spite of me being up against it too much on running 3 jobs. You're a mate. I'll be there for you, of course. What do you need? You know what I mean? That's what you do for your mates. You drop everything when they need you. Do you do that for the guy that wants to ridicule you? You're having a laugh. These people are so dumb. Yeah, you can tell your audience it's because of the mute button when you don't want to pay me. It's no worries. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, you care what you're perceived as by your audience. I know my audience actually care about me. They show it me in many, many, many different ways, like Jardo gifting memberships, like Adam helping me edit the book, like the panel being here now around me, right? I know how people feel about it. They show it. It's abundantly obvious. Well, Anthony, I keep getting the two people mixed up now. Well, formerly Ranty, auditing the absurd, might as well give him his proper dues. He's a YouTuber. Put that hat on. Shout out to you as a YouTuber. Good for you, buddy. Wish you every success where I am denied it. But where Ranty is going to suggest that he can get someone on his show. Okay, you're going to carry on through that? No, you're going to suggest that Craig might be interested in it too, aren't you? Because you're not exactly being friendly with these people either, are you? You're not spending day in, day out on their shows. They haven't got a public gateway for a start. I mean, my public gateway, where Ranty could join whenever he chose, right? To then make himself believe that he was one of my mates because he could join a public gateway that anybody can join. You know what I mean? The people you're hanging around with don't have that. You'd have to make a suggestion that Craig might be interested. I don't know. Have you contacted him? Is he your mate? Will he do it for free because he likes you? All of those things are, I would assume, presumed by you anyway, because you're not on a show talking about it with him. Yeah? Like, I can now ask Chocolate his opinion because he's here showing me that he's actually got a concern for me and what I do. Anyway, I know I'm loved, is what I'm trying to drive at. Thank you, everyone around me. You're all awesome. And I know I'm supported. You know, as much as I worry and want to show willing, and I am working hard, I know damn well that I'd be bailed out. Where Witsits put his hand out recently, people have spat on it. I know that if that was me, in the exact same scenario, people would have fallen over themselves to help me. They want to help me if that was my situation. Even if I did it in the same way Witsit did and went, oh, I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but I desperately need help. If I was to be doing that, for whatever reason, it seems very unlikely, but people would know in my tone that I meant it and that there was something legitimate about it. That didn't come across from Witsit, it just came out like he was money grabbing. That's why he got called it. But I would know that that would be the support I'd receive from the community because it's happened many times. So it's like, you don't need to concern yourself when you've actually got friends around you. About friendships, that is. Well, look
I
at
heard
that.
the 10 grand was to validate Ether.
Is that what it was for? Yeah, you won't be doing that.
No, I'm just kidding. Nah, that's got to be something that he just wants money. Like all of them, I told you, they're all in it just for the money. And I know you do it for money too.
Yep.
But your heart is not in the wrong place.
Well, I do things for money because I can say sincerely. I had this conversation with Craig actually, as I've just asked him to help me out with a shortcut to something, about doing things that you love. When you do something that you love, it doesn't feel like work, right? So this now, the time's just flown by. An hour and 5 minutes has just disappeared, right? That's the only downside, actually, in some ways, because I'm talking about being time poor, and the shows just vanish, don't they? You start the show, welcome to Flat Earth. A minute ago we were doing housekeeping, and now the hour's up. Time just really flies when you're doing YouTube live streams. I love it. This is ace. And as I'm rounding out this point, right?
Time flies when you're not being bombarded and slapped across the face with all types of globe proof, right? So that might be it too. That might be a factor.
Certainly a factor for our longevity. But yeah, I don't think Mark's going to turn around in the next 5 years and reveal himself as a deep-seated supercell shill. I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, any last remarks?
Remember when I was being accused of being an agent when I first got here because I just happened to be in New York on 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
Because I worked there somehow, because I worked in Manhattan while 9/11 was happening. I was an agent.
Yes, and then TJ put me in the camp with you as an agent.
Shit. Oh yeah, because you're from New York too.
Yeah, and I was
All
there
New
the day you
Yorkers
got
are
hit.
agents.
Me and you were agents.
Very suspicious.
Can I say something
You can.
before the show ends?
Only
It does not get
in
much
Irish.
background noise.
Only
It
after
does not get much background noise because I'm in the shop, so you
There
let
were
me
no
know.
planes.
You can. You just got to get the mild racism out of the way. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what anyone does. All the facts and figures are out there now. So it doesn't matter who decides tomorrow that they're suddenly going to try and knife everyone in the back or whatever. Means nothing now.
Yep.
I mean,
completely agree.
nobody can go, there's going to be a loss. Because it's all out there. All they're going to be doing is contradicting the facts they would have previously shown. That doesn't stop them things being a fact in the story. Thank you.
No, I completely agree. It stopped being about people. It stopped being about groups. It stopped being about the perception of flat earthers and how they behave and what they believe in and the ghosts and ghoulies and ether and Bigfoot. It stopped being about that. It's now about the facts and measurements of an earth that is flat. That's all it's about. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, gifted memberships, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.